Hey everyone, welcome back to round 11 of the Tata Steel Masters. Something bizarre happened in the game between Anish Giri and Samuel Shankland. I'm going to show you the game from move 25. So this is the position on the board. Both sides are about equal. White has this nicely centralized queen and also a bishop, which exerts nice pressure on the long diagonal. So black also has pluses going on for him. This queen and knight look menacingly at the pawn on g2, and here if f takes e5, this would run into rook to f3, a very nice move, cutting off the queen's defense on the g2 pawn. So if rook takes f3, then black can play queen takes g2. So white has to play g3, and black gets enough play after queen to f5. So in this position, Giri decides to trade queens to alleviate some pressure off g2. He plays queen e4, and we have a series of exchanges. So here Giri played the move e5. If bishop d4, trying to go after the weak double pawn, then black can play knight g6. And the knight finds a beautiful central square. So here Giri played e5, just stopping black from getting the e5 square for the knight. D takes e5, bishop takes e5, knight to g6, bishop c7, and b5 from Shankland. Since black is going to lose the pawn, it makes sense to try and double white's pawns in the process. So c takes b5. The next few moves come naturally, both sides centralize their kings. King f3 attacking the f-pawn. Black has no direct defense, so Shankland plays knight to h4 check. So another possibility is king e6, preparing to defend with king to f5, while also keeping things flexible, giving black the option of walking over to the queen side, although this can be a bit risky. So if bishop takes f4, knight takes f4, this is actually a drawn king and pawn ending because white's extra pawn is double. After g6, white has nothing in this position. So in this position, knight h4 check, we have king takes f4 and knight takes g2 check. So if king f2, then black is more than fine after g5. So here Giri took, knight takes g2 check, king to e5, king e7, bishop d6 check. So here if king d7, then bishop f8, looking at these pawns. And if king f7, then bishop c5, preparing to walk the king over to the b7 pawn. And in this position, white will be glad to have the bishop over the knight, as it can cover both sides of the board. So here, in this position, king to e8 was played by Shankland. So black is prepared to meet bishop c5 and king d6 with the move king to d8. For example, if bishop c5, then black controls these entry points. So here king e8, Giri played king to e6, and we have g5 from Shankland. So this move involves a fair bit of calculation. Black hopes to eventually eliminate white's h-pawn, and then this will be a draw. So king to f6, and we have king to d7. So knight h4 also playable, but then bishop g3, knight f3, king g6. While this is still actually a draw, black doesn't achieve his intentions of getting rid of the h-pawn. So here Shankland opted for the move king d7, provoking bishop f8, getting the bishop off this diagonal, making it possible to eliminate the h2 pawn. So if instead of bishop f8, white can try and keep the bishop on the diagonal with bishop e5, but here knight f4 gives black good activity. Knight d5 check in the air. White can even go wrong with king g7, and suddenly black is the one with the initiative after king e6. King f5 next, and black will try to use this kingside majority. So here bishop f8, and we have knight to h4. Giri played bishop takes h6, knight f3. This is all part of the calculation. h3, knight to g1, bishop takes g5, knight takes h3. So black managed to get rid of the h-pawn, but now Giri tries to make things tricky. Bishop to e3, taking away all the squares from the knight. King d6, Shankland hurries over to try and win one of the double b pawns. King f5, preparing to win the knight. With king to g4, we have king to d5, and Giri played b6. And it was actually in this position that Samuel Shankland resigned, which was a huge surprise because this is actually a drawn position. So all that black needs to do in this position is to play king d6 and then get his king all the way into the corner on a8. So if this happens, this is a draw and white can't force the black king out of the corner to win the b pawn. Black will simply rock back and forth on a8 and b8, and there's nothing that white can do about this. So you might be thinking, hang on, what if white plays bishop to f4, stopping king b8 and king a8? This is actually isn't a problem for black. Black can just go back and forth between d7 and c8, and white can't make any progress. King e7 would be stalemate. So Giri said after the game that the endgame was equal throughout, but he realized that Shankland's body language indicated that he thought the game was lost. So Giri kept a stone cold face before playing the final move b6. So quite unfortunate for Samuel Shankland. Hopefully he will manage to bounce back strong in the next game. So this win puts Giri in tied first together with Carlsen, who drew with Radjabov. Thanks for watching and have a great day.